Hi there. Have you all ever noticed that everyone keeps saying the same thing every year? This year flew by so quickly. 2025 just flew by, 2024 just flew by, and before we know it, another year is just gone in the blink of an eye. It's almost as if time itself is speeding up. Now it's tempting to believe that, but the physics hasn't changed. A minute is still a minute, and a day is still 24 hours. So maybe, if time hasn't changed, we have. I'm Shiven Sood, and today I want to share with you all my idea of trying to live again. But before we start, you all must be wondering when we stopped living in the first place. Well, you are all sitting in front of me, you're breathing, you're listening to me speak. So you all are breathing and living. That's the definition of living, right? Well, that's what we assume. So to start off, picture this. If the person sitting beside you asked you how your day was, you would probably say something like it was busy, it was hectic, it was chill, or as I would have personally said, it was a time pass day. And that's usually where the response ends. But that exact response actually tells us something really important. It tells us that somewhere along the way, we started measuring our days by how full they were, rather than how present we felt in them, by how much stuff we did, rather than how much of it we actually experienced and how much of it actually stayed with us. It made me realize that we don't just live busy lives. We have started confusing being busy with truly being alive. Now, most of the time, we do not stop and think about how or why this happens. It does not feel dramatic. It does not feel like a problem. It feels normal. We wake up in the morning, we check our phones, we rush through the morning, and then throughout the day, we move from one task to the another. And by the end, aren't we all exhausted? I mean, we all have done so much throughout the day. But when we try to remember it, it feels strangely empty, right? It's like scrolling through reels for an hour, and then when you try to remember what happened, you can barely remember what you just watched. Many of us have had this feeling, and I'm sure you can relate with this as much as I can. In this, nothing went wrong. We did not waste time. In fact, we were productive. We did so much throughout the day. Yet, it feels like the day just disappeared. So, what does this tell us? I'm sure you all have had this feeling. So here is what I think is happening. Busyness puts us on this sort of autopilot mode. When we're constantly moving from one task to the another, our attention is always slightly ahead of where we are. When we're walking, we're listening to the music. When we're talking, we're planning our next response. And when we're eating, we are more focused on the show we are watching. It's almost as if physically we are there, but mentally we're somewhere else. In other words, we're not mindful, we're not present of the world we live in. When this becomes our default mode, days, they stop leaving an impression. That's why moments from even years ago would feel vivid, but moments from just last week would feel blurry. You'd barely be able to remember what happened. It's not because the moments from last year were longer. It's because in those moments, we were fully there, fully present when they happened. So, what's the solution? The thing is that the solution doesn't lie in stopping to chase our goals. Goals are important. They give us ambition. The solution lies in changing our strategy. Well, when a game gets difficult, we don't just stop the game, we don't quit the game, we change our strategy and try again. At least that's what I do. So what I want you to do is I want you to change your strategy. Take any simple, ordinary activity. It might be eating, it might be walking, it might be talking. But I don't want you to rush it. I want you to take your time doing it. Secondly, leave your phone aside for some time. I mean, in today's world, whenever we get bored, we have free time, we always just have our phone. It's eating, we're probably just scrolling through reels while it is happening. So keep your phone aside for some time and just focus on the single particular activity you're doing. Then don't try to multitask, because when you do many tasks at a single moment, we actually are dividing our attention. So we're not really able to focus on any one thing properly. So just try to focus on that one thing. Next, try to name one detail about the activity which you're doing. So if you're walking in the park, for an example, try to say, okay, wow, the sky, the cloud, it looks like a donut. And the next time, after a few years, you'd still remember that walk and you'd think that, wow, that cloud, it looked like a donut. Last but not least, I want you to do something which many people find unorthodox. Let boredom exist. Because when we let boredom exist, it gets our attention back. When we let boredom exist, we try to become more present, more mindful of the world we live in. So whenever you have free time, don't just try to go, in fact, parents normally say, okay, you have free time, you have 2 hours, go to badminton classes, join some hobby, but that's not what you want to do. Instead, stay bored for some time. Just think about life, because that is when your mind actually starts running. And if you don't believe me, think about this. What was the last walk you had? Do you remember the trees, the sky, the people, or just the fact that you went for a walk? Okay, let's try something more simpler. What about the last 3 meals you ate? Do you remember the taste, the flavors, or do you even remember what the 3 meals you ate were? I don't think so. The thing is, most of us aren't doing life wrong. We're just not fully there, fully present while it is happening. And when you start, life will not suddenly become easier, but it will become clearer. For example, have you seen those celebrity chefs? Whenever they're trying out the food, they close their eyes and, they smell the food before and then they eat it. It sounds so cool, it seems like, wow, they're experts. But why? Because when they close their eyes, they remove all distractions. All of their attention is towards the food they're eating. They're truly experiencing the food. This is just one example. I want you to relate with this with everything you do in life. And all of a sudden, life will start to make more sense. You will realize what energizes you, what drains you. Life will not become easier, it will remove the blur. It will become more clear. So, the next time someone asks you, how was your day? Don't just say it was busy. Think about it. Pause for a second and just say, was there any moment of my day that I truly lived, that I truly experienced? Because even if you did for just a few moments, those few moments would matter more than the whole day combined. Thank you.